Okay, welcome back. Today I'll go over the mixer inside of FL Studio. I've already got some sounds linked to inputs as you can see here, 1 through 6. But now I'm going to navigate to the mixer up here, and as you can see we're greeted with a bunch of level meters, volume faders, a bunch of knobs and dials. We'll get into all of that, but we're going to start up here in the top left with the mixer options main menu. Once we click on this, we get a bunch of options. So we've got disc recording, so this is all for rendering stuff. Plugin delay compensation, so this is for if a plugin is slowing down or delaying an input or sound, this will like fix it. So I've got it set to automatic. Link all parameters, so that'll go through every parameter here and you can link it one by one to different things. That's very annoying. We've got view, so that's just some options to help you view this mixer. Detached mode, which will detach it. Now this is for the selected mixer track, so I'm on insert 1. We can rename it, change color, change icon, assign to a new audio track. We can open mixer track state, save mixer track state, browse states, and then we've got a couple preset states here. We can open an audio editor, open an audio logger, and reset the selected tracks to default. Coming down to routing, we can route selected channels to this track. So we've got a couple selected. We can route selected channels to a track, the starting track. We can, if we've got multiple selected again, we've got this track routing. So we can route selected to this track, route to this track only. That's for creating mixer buses, where if you've got a bunch of inputs, you can put them on one of these. So let's say all of these, we wanted them to go to 18 or whatever. We'd just come over here to 18 and then hit route to this track only, and all the effects on 18 would affect all of those other. And now again with track routing, we can sidechain. This is for sidechain compression, which is like when one sound is playing, the other sound will duck. So you can do that pretty easily by routing. I do have separate tutorials on mixer buses and sidechain compression. So if you want a more in-depth look at that, make sure to check those two out. And then we've got select, so we can select the channels routed, select the one this is routed to, tracks routed to this one, or group them. Select a group, I mean. You can solo the selected tracks, alternate solo the selected tracks, arm the selected tracks for recording, get onto that in a bit later, and disarm them for recording again. We can group them, add a separator, we can change the layout, we can move the dock middle, right or left. We can move it around there, and then just for CPU allow threaded processing. To the right of that we've got multi-touch control up here. This is for displays that have like touchscreen. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, make sure to let me know in the comments, but that's what I think it's for. View waveforms, so I'm gonna just solo this kick maybe, and actually I'll solo this hi-hat, and I'll show you what the different waveforms do. So you can change between a level that is constantly bouncing up and down, or you could go through the history of the sound. This one lets us view extra volume and stereo properties, and this one is to view / swap the track inspector, and then this one here is for the mixer layout, so we can go compact, just change how all of these look. Wide alt, extra large, bunch of different options here. I like to stick to wide 3, I think, wide 3. That just suits my workflow the best. And now I'm going to come to this master track and go through what all of these options are down here lengthwise. So at the top we've got this volume/level indicator. This is just for how loud everything is. If it goes past 0, as you can see in a more detailed version of the current thing you've got selected, more detailed version here with numbers, if it goes past 0 it will clip unless you've got a limiter or compressor on here. Below that is a button for muting/soloing. So muting it is left click, and then soloing it is right click, and unsolo with right click again. This is for panning, so you can pan it 100% right, 100% left, or whatever value right, whatever value left. You can reset it to set it to the center. This is a volume fader, so you can change it, and you can see the decibels here changing. It should always be set at 0 for a master, in my opinion. Much cleaner ways to gain volume. Here you can swap the left and right channels. This is useful for when recording audio. If a mic's set up wrong or something, you can just quickly flip it like that. And then this is for reversing the polarity. So if transients are phasing or something's going wrong with a sound, usually like a bass or a kick, you can reverse the polarity to sometimes help aid that. This stereo separation knob, so you can make it 100% separated, 100% merged, that's for mono, but it's a good idea to keep in the original setting. And this button here toggles the effects, so whatever effects you've got here, I've just got a Fruity soft clipper, you can toggle that on and off, so it'll determine whether that's affected or not by the effects. This ARM disk recording is for, you guessed it, recording. So once that's hit, it'll light this up, which is enabling direct input recording. So whatever plays will be recorded. There's a article on the FL Studio or ImageLab website that goes into a bit more depth with that. That's a whole other subject really. I might do a separate video about that, to be honest. But that's for recording either external or internal input. This clock here is for changing the track latency. Again, if an effect's messing with a plugin or instrument, it'll fix that usually automatically, or you can manually adjust it. And then finally here, this is a routing, so master doesn't route too well, but you can see this kick is routed, sidechain routed to this 808 over here. So I've got a little bit of sidechain compression going there, but you can see through here, you just click on these arrows and route it pretty easily, and then this arrow will unroute it. So that's about it for this. Now we'll come over here. This is the effects panel. So this is for recording, this little drop down. So for recording mic or a guitar or whatever. This is for input latency again. If your effect is messing with the input, you've got up to 10 effects slots here. You can change the mix level, which is pretty much how heavily impacted the original sound will be by the effect. So if you want it like 10% or whatever, then only 10% of this effect will be put onto the original sound to affect it. And then you can mute it here. But if you want more than 10 slots, what you can do is you can have whatever amount of slots you want here filled, and then you can come to an empty mixer track, right click and hit route to this track only, and then it'll come through this first of all with the 10 effects, and then go to this one, and then you can put X amount of slots, you can fill X amount of slots, and then it'll go out to the master. Just got a small little equalizer, EQ sort of thing here, pretty basic, but can save on CPU and stuff, saves you from opening a new parametric EQ or Fab Filter or whatever you use for EQ, TDR Nova. Just saves that sort of hassle. It's pretty intuitive, pretty accurate, just 3-band EQ I think. Yeah. Now that's about it for the basics of the FL Studio mixer. There's definitely a lot you can do with this. I would advise you to just play around with it, see what you can do. because there is a lot you can do with this, especially with the recording. That's something I didn't really go too in depth on, but there's definitely a lot of ways you can record and do all that sort of stuff inside of FL. But if you enjoyed, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you later.